So here's what they said about, here's what they say about Andrew Little. This is just a bit of commentary. He's done well. He could be the goods. You'd have to concede that his shadow cabinet changes made a lot of sense. And here's another one. Little might be the man in the right place at the right time. He just needs to be competent, assured and authentic, and so far he's passed the test. Well, that's pretty positive. And I thought, well, I wonder if that's happened before. So I went back. David Shearer. His opponents are at risk of underestimating him. Behind the affable exterior and ready smile are a steel-trap mind and steely resolve. So he was good. David Cunliffe. Cunliffe delivered the wow factor. As he sat down from his first big speech, conference delegates gave him a standing ovation. So it's all been said before, Mr. Speaker.
There's a couple of announcements I want to make. I've been leaked a copy of the New Zealand Film Commission's recent list of movies they've funded. In fact, they're about to release. And this might make a useful stocking filler for many people looking on, those who are interested in politics, but they've released to me the list of their movies that are adaptations of favourite New Zealand movies but applied to a political contest, because they know where their funding comes from. And I'm just going through a random selection of the list here. For example, the new title, Whale Oil Rider. A touching story of two New Zealanders in search of bromance, a spiritual bond, a clean environment for blue whales, and a decent mobile package with free texting. Filmed on location in the heart of Wellington and suburban North Shore. And then we have Goodbye Pork Barrel. A road movie in which a Minister of Defence, a Minister of Transport turned Minister of Defence, undergoes a road to Damascus conversion and realises that grandiose public works projects designed to win votes actually takes money away from other areas, like defence spending. And then there's The End of the Golden Weather. No, it's not the Press Gallery Christmas party. It's a story of an economy where commodity prices fall, income tax receipts fall, the government deficit grows, and a marginal character in the whole story is left to mindlessly run up and down Parnell Rise wishing he was important. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we have Heavenly Features. The story of a leader of the opposition, armed only with his rugged good looks and a new pair of glasses, takes on a government tired, out of touch, out of ideas and out of time. And who wins? And yeah, mystery guest star on that one, but we'll soon find out. And then there's a special extra one, a Lord of the Rings movie, Return to the King. And she's sitting next to me, and we're on our way back.
Mr. Speaker, I've also learned that journalists do actually ask questions like, have you ever smoked cannabis? My answer to that was no. Absolutely not. Never. Of course, I was answering generally rather than specifically, but it's true, I have never inhaled in my capacity as a List MP. My office may have taken drugs in the past. I don't know. I'm not accountable for it. But at the end of the day, what I can say is that I am extremely relaxed.
Thanks also to my dear friends in the press gallery. We know that you play a very fundamental role in our parliamentary democracy, and sadly it's become increasingly clear to us that the under-resourcing of those in the gallery by their respective organisations is having a negative impact on their ability to report the news. As this newfound obsession with speed, haste makes waste, and thoughtful consideration is better than a breaking news banner, but we know where the blame lies.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Marty Party gave to me 12 tweeters tweeting, 11 sizzling fry bread, 10 fattened power, 9 foxy children, 8 juicy kinners, 7 seats are waiting, 6 boys are twirling, 5 are no order.
Navigators.
4 burning questions, 3 iron Māori, 2 smart co-leaders, and a merikrihi mete ki a koe.
I should have to thank the
opposition for the very important constitutional role that you play. In particular, my right honourable friend and fellow Northlander from Whananaki, who has really inspired me and taught me a few things. I came to the House thinking that if you wanted to come and speak in this House, you needed a detailed knowledge of what you were talking about. But as it turns out, that's optional. So thank you very much for the inspirational leadership you've given to me. I'd like to thank the Green Party members, with the exception of one who have also shown me that I was wrong about the need to have a detailed knowledge of economics before coming to Parliament. But with a little bit of luck, some of them will go away and discover that, yes, indeed, the interest rate is proportional to risk. And if that seems like a confusion, please Google it as a holiday assignment and would all be much, much better off.
But looking across the House, it's hard not to feel like I'm stuck in front of a TV that's only tuned to the Jones channel. Only tuned to the Jones channel. Rerun after rerun. Old lame, worn-out jokes. Oh, it's the same old faces, the same old personalities. Because watching Stephen Joyce in the House, it's hard not to think of Mr. Rumbold from Are You Being Served? That cantankerous old know-all who really thinks that he's the one running the shop. Mr. Rumbold, clearly, Stephen Joyce is clearly the Mr. Rumbold of the National Party. When looking at Simon Bridges answering questions in the House, how could anybody avoid the clear comparison with what's his name from Get Smart? Get Smart, Maxwell Smart, the Maxwell Smart of the National Party. That has to be Simon Bridges. Listening to Jerry Brownlee answering questions on behalf of the Prime Minister with an answer that effectively goes along the lines of, I know nothing. Sergeant Schultz of the National Party, that's Jerry Brownlee, the Sergeant Schultz of the National Party. Looking at poor old Craig Foss, pushed out of cabinet, pushed to the back benches. He's like Norm off Cheers, Norm from Cheers. Things never quite work out for poor old Craig Foss. And then, of course, we've got Chris Finlayson, the Fraser Crane of the National Party. All of that thwarted intellect that nobody ever takes seriously there. Bill English, the Frank Spencer, and if you look at the Frank Spencer of the National Party, and if you look at the state of the government's accounts, still not in surplus, that's very clear. The accident-prone Bill English. Of course, sometimes you get to change the channel and you end up on The Muppet Show. I know John Key's a big fan of The Muppet Show, and looking up the back to where Judith Collins and Maurice Williamson said, it's hard not to think of Waldorf and Statler from The Muppet Show. Up the back there, passing judgment on all of their colleagues the way they do. Or Tim Grosser, listening to Tim Grosser talking about climate change. It's hard not to think about Bunsen Honeydew, the mad scientist from The Muppet Show. Although I'm not sure what that makes Nick Smith. Does that make him Beaker? I'm not entirely sure about what that does. I think Hekia Parata actually probably has the closest resemblance to the Swedish chef. She sort of throws things around and mumbles things that nobody can quite understand. I think that's very much Hekia Parata. Jonathan Coleman, the great gonzo over there, the maestro of the health portfolio. Peter Dunn, you could liken him a bit to Fozzie Bear, really. He tries very hard to make people laugh, but doesn't quite succeed. And then, of course, we have the member who just spoke, David Seymour. But I realise that on the Jones channel, they haven't yet brought back Doogie Howser. But when they do, I'm sure that we will see David Seymour there reflected on the Jones channel. And of course, how could I forget the star of the show? No, I'm not talking about Kermit the Frog. I'm talking about the Prime Minister, John Key. The man with a memory like a steel trap that prematurely closed. Nothing ever gets in there. Now, I read in a magazine article the other day that crosswords are very good for one's memory. So I bought John Key a Christmas present, a book of crosswords.
As we adjourn for the 51st, adjourn this particular 51st Parliament for Christmas break, I also want to acknowledge the cooperation I've received from all members of this House. To date, not one member has been asked to leave the chamber. Now, that could be because behaviour has improved. It could be because my patience has improved. Or it could be because one particular member who has the record in the time that I've been in this House of being thrown out the most has actually joined the presiding officer's team. And I am, of course, referring to the Honourable Trevor Mallard.